Have you ever started a DIY project that you thought would take a week, but then somehow it turned into 5? Well, that's been the case with our stair makeover project. This was supposed to be relatively quick and easy, but after a surprisingly lengthy demo, there is so many stinking staples, making a bunch of nerve-wracking cuts that if not executed perfectly would have taken us straight back to day 1.
If I mess this up, I quit.
Waiting on stair railing parts to come in the mail, and finally just giving into the reality that this project wouldn't just be 100 steps, it would actually be 1,000. So this week, we have one goal in mind. Finish this never-ending project.
I just want to get done.
Will we finish the job, or will more mistakes, more shipping delays, and more unforeseen little projects have us waiting yet another week? Find out in the adventures of my DIY wife and her non-handy husband.
Hey,
Sorry.
All right, next we're gonna work on getting this post attached to the stairs, but to do that, I need to take this down, which I wanna do anyway before I stain everything. So let's start getting this thing taken down. All right, I've got my post detached from everything, and I need to mark the center of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure and mark that and see if we can figure this out. After marking the center on both sides, I used a square and drew lines to mark the middle of my post. And then it was time to get out a new toy.
What is that thing?
It's like a jig that your drill attaches to where you basically get like a little portable drill press. But I need to be able to drill a 5-inch deep hole on here and then a deeper hole on there that's perfectly straight. And there's no way I can do that by eyeballing it. So I ordered this thing on Amazon, and honestly it looks great, so I'm pretty excited. That'll come in handy for other stuff too. So I definitely am gonna need help holding this. I can't think of any other way to like hold this and drill into the top of it other than literally holding it up like this. But
Are you knighting me? And I was trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but it didn't really work out.
babe.
New method here.
I decided the more stable and safe option was to clamp the post to the table instead. I had to use so much force that I needed Dean to apply counter pressure on the other side of the table so I didn't push the table across the room. All right, so I can't actually like depress this far enough because the spring here stops it. So I'm gonna take that off and then try and do the last little bit without it. After successfully removing the spring, I was ready to finish the job. Once I finished drilling the hole in the bottom of the post, I was ready to move on to the next step, and this would require a new bit. It's a big bit.
It's a big bit.
This is our work table of the day.
Yeah, I like it. Why are we doing this inside?
Because of Hurricane Beryl.
Well, Hurricane Beryl is punishing parts of Texas today after coming ashore between Galveston and Corpus Christi.
I had planned to use my new jig for this next step until I made a frustrating discovery.
What's wrong?
That's annoying. This doesn't even fit in my little drill press. Doesn't fit. I don't think it's quite as important for this hole to be as perfectly straight. It's also not gonna go as deep as like that one and the one into the ground, so I think we'll be fine. Before I started drilling the hole, I used some painter's tape to mark the depth that I would need the drill bit to go to. I don't even know how. I don't think my drill bit I don't think my drill can do this.
Did you just smell it?
Smell it. My drill is burning.
It's burning a little bit, yeah.
And if I haven't mentioned this already, this post is made out of solid white oak, which is extremely hard. I guess I could like slowly chip away at it like I'm doing it.
This process was definitely slow and a little bit painful to watch.
Okay, that's it. I got it.
Woo!
Once I got it started, I took out the little, you know, like, what is that? It's like a screw tip that helps you keep it straight and in place. And that helped a lot because it didn't like catch and try and gouge out so much. Whew. I was a little scared there for a minute. I didn't know if my drill was gonna be able to handle that. really quick, we want to say thanks to Circle for sponsoring today's video. I'm really excited to try these because I have a hard time drinking enough water or just wanting to drink water, and so this is kind of fun because it's like getting a tasty drink throughout the day instead of just having plain water all the time. There are literally over 100 different flavor options that come in these little cartridges that you then attach to your water bottle after you fill it with water, and each one of these cartridges flavors over 6 20-ounce bottles, which is pretty awesome, especially because I'll probably use the flavor dial down a little bit, so I'll probably get even more than that out of each one. I'm gonna try this Life Sip Honeycrisp Apple flavor first. And like I said, there are literally so many different options. There's ones that have vitamins added to it. There's ones that have electrolytes added. There's some with caffeine added. There's even iced coffee flavors, which I'm really excited to try because that just seems crazy. So after filling the water bottle with water, you simply attach the cartridge here. And then there's actually a flavor dial so you can adjust how strong you want the drink to be. I'm gonna go with 4. It goes all the way up to 9. Actually, maybe I'll go a little higher, see how that tastes. All right, this feels like moment of truth. First try. Oh, that's actually really tasty. I'm gonna put it all the way down to a 3. We'll see. I'm gonna get so much out of these. Okay, I think maybe 4 is the sweet spot for me.
4 is your perfect number?
4 is my perfect number. That's really good. It tastes like a Honeycrisp apple. All right, the kids are watching me taste it, and now they all want to try it, so we're gonna get a little taste test here.
Yummy.
You like it? It's good. I feel like this is a pretty nifty trick if you have kids who don't like to drink water or who have a hard time staying hydrated enough, because these are tasty. I'm gonna try all these flavors and I'll let you know in our next video what my favorite is, so stay tuned. But all new orders can actually get a free white stainless steel water bottle with a free cartridge on purchases over $35 if you click the link in the description below. Next, it was time for a quick cleanup because there was wood chips and sawdust everywhere, and I did not want this to get tracked all over our house. Let's go see it. Now I gotta figure out what size hole I need to make in the bottom step for that. My drill is like so hot. I grabbed my new handy jig and prepared to drill the hole into the bottom step that the post would attach to.
And at this point, Andrea was making me a little bit nervous. So are you feeling confident drilling into this step here?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. After successfully drilling the hole, I grabbed the bolt that came in the installation kit I ordered and started screwing it into place. And this part proved to be unexpectedly difficult. Holy cow, babe. We might need to switch rules for a little bit.
Let's do it. All right, let's show you boys how to do this.
Wow, now you're making it look easy. How are you doing?
Things were going well and I was getting a bit confident, and maybe I got a bit overconfident.
Is it getting... Hey, Dean!
Sorry.
Stop. Okay.
Show you I can do some push-ups. Yeah. Let's do the job. No more entertainment. No more extra flavor or sauce. But finally, about 5 minutes later, we had this thing bolted in. Yep, that's it.
That was a lot. Good job, babe.
Wow.
I don't know if I could have finished that. All right, let's test this thing out. Okay, it has this piece that fits into that big hole that I drilled. Okay. And then a giant star bit that you put in there that somehow tightens it onto that massive bolt. So it's kind of cool. We don't have to like spin this piece or anything. That's way sturdier than our last one was.
What do you mean?
Oh man.
Whoa.
All right, before I move on to staining my railing and all the wood parts, I actually bought a new handrail that I'm gonna put on the other side of the wall. So we're gonna remove this old one and then measure for the new one and get that cut. I was almost finished, but then discovered there was one random flathead screw, and so I had to go out to the garage to grab another drill bit. All right, there's one flathead screw. Woo! Almost pulled that off. I gotta go grab another drill bit real quick. I'm sure a few people are wondering why I can't just restain this, and I could, but it's probably about 100% impossible to get it to match my new wood, especially since this is red oak and the new wood is white oak, so I wanted to start from scratch. with the exact same kind of wood so it would match perfectly. All right, now that I have the wood part of the railing down, I'm gonna go ahead and take these brackets off and then we'll move on to measuring. That already looks better with that pulled off. This may seem like a small detail, but to me, it looks so much better with this railing removed.
So I want to take a quick pause to announce that in August, I'll actually be hosting a free online workshop for businesses who want to tap into the power of YouTube. Before DIY Wife, I actually ran another channel called The Songwriting Studio. And this was a channel that I started for my recording studio business. And two powerful things can happen when you start a YouTube channel for your business or personal brand. Number one, YouTube is a very powerful place to generate leads. For example, my studio's YouTube channel actually generated me more leads than I could even take on. But more than that, the second thing that YouTube can do for your business is help you attract your ideal clients. Because YouTube is a place where you can share your skills and tastes and preferences, and you actually attract people who think like you do. So if you run a business or a personal brand and you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, then I want to invite you to my free 1-hour workshop coming up in August, where I'll be sharing the first 5 steps that every business owner needs to take to get onto YouTube. So if you want all the dates and the details about the upcoming workshop, then just click on the link in the description and I hope to see you there.
Next, it was time to measure for the new handrail. I ordered this new white oak handrail so that everything would match perfectly.
Let me help you with this thing right here.
Don't kick it because it's got water. I didn't want it to splash. I clamped the railing in place and then made an angle cut on each end. I also decided to mimic the old railing and make a straight cut off of the very end of each piece just so that the end wasn't quite so sharp. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick sanding on these ends just to smooth out the edges and make them where they're not quite so sharp, you know, in case somebody falls and hits them.
All right, javelin ready. Just in time for the Olympics. Remember that time I threw that javelin?
No, babe! I need that board! After bringing the railing inside and confirming that it fit, I did a light sanding on both rails. All right, I'm gonna do a really quick vacuum on this because I've got a little bit of sawdust, and then we're gonna set up to stain. All right, for my stain, I'm gonna be using Rubio Monocoat's Pre-Color Easy in the color Vintage Brown. I've used this on so many different pieces. I'll often layer it with their Oil Plus 2C, but I already know that this color alone on white oak matches our flooring nearly perfectly, and so I'm gonna use this and then put a protective finish on top of it that is clear so I can keep the same color. Staining these railings was a bit tedious, but it was really exciting to see the color going on, and you can see here how perfectly it matches our floor. After finishing the main railing, I grabbed the smaller handrail and continued applying the same stain. After I finished staining the handrail, I was ready to move on to the last piece. All right, so next I'm ready to go ahead and stain the post. I'm gonna put a quick little strip of tape around the bottom. Even though this stuff's water-based and I know it would wipe off of here, this will just be a little bit cleaner. Once I finished staining, we headed out for a couple of errands while we waited for the stain to dry.
Where are we going?
making 2 stops because I want to make it a little more complicated, and we're gonna go to Lowe's and Home Depot. So when we painted our house, I bought all of our paint at Home Depot, and it feels a little too risky to buy like another brand of paint, even if it's technically the same color, because it's probably not going to be a perfect match. But I need more paint for like touch-up paint and stuff like that. So we're going to both. And I don't like shopping for all the wood stuff at Home Depot because I don't know where anything is, and I feel like our Home Depot does not have as good of a selection as Lowe's. So
A Lowe's trip, a Lowe's trip. Every single day it's a Lowe's trip. It's honestly hard to compute how many times we come to Lowe's in a given week or month or
we
year.
didn't have to come. We could have just not filmed this trip.
That doesn't mean it didn't happen.
At Lowe's, all I needed was 1 trim board to help finish off the edge of the risers on the stairs, and so this was a relatively quick trip.
So where are we going now?
Home Depot.
You know what I heard is near Home Depot?
Chipotle.
That's right.
In Home Depot, I started by ordering the paint, and while they were mixing that, I grabbed a painting kit because I needed a couple of new rollers and a cheap paintbrush.
And after checking out a Home Depot, it was time for the best part of this outing. Where to now?
Get food.
3rd trip's a charm.
So hungry. When we're in the middle of a project, sometimes it's nice to just grab something fun for lunch because it helps keep spirits high. All right, we're back. Everything's dry. I'm actually going to be using a furniture wax on the railing just because I like the way it looks over this stuff. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we can start getting it actually all assembled. All right, everything is stained and sealed, so now I can start gluing everything and actually getting it fully installed. This is exciting. I started by gluing in the bottom of each of the spindles, and these will all get straightened up as soon as I put the top handrail on. Next, I attached the handrail to the post, and then I grabbed Dean's help for this next part because it was definitely going to be a 2-person job. Once I had the railing all in place, I was finally ready to screw it into the wall. It looks so good. I like it. All right, the last thing I need to do with the railing is install the shorter railing on this side, but the wall is so dirty. I don't know if any of you have like stairs like this with kids, but our kids come down like this, and I clean this regularly, but it gets so nasty. Anyway, it's gonna be a lot easier to clean this before I put the railing on than to try and clean it after, so I'm gonna clean it right now. That's not even as bad as it normally is, but look at that. Can you see like the...
Dude, that's gross.
That's what I'm telling you, it's like, look at that. After getting this embarrassingly filthy wall all clean, I was ready to start installing the handrail. For some reason, my stud finder was having a hard time actually detecting the studs in the wall here, and so I decided to use a little bit more of an old-fashioned technique. Oh, that's probably one right there. Once I had the wall bracket installed, I grabbed my railing and held it in place so I could mark where I needed to drill pilot holes for the screws. Alright, so I have those little, I think they're actually technically lattice boards that I bought at Lowe's. I am going to use those to trim out the edges right here. My original thought was, oh, I can just like caulk it, paint it, something like that, but I just don't know if that's going to make it clean enough. So we're gonna use this, but to do that, I'm gonna need to trim off a little bit of the edge of my stair nose there. We'll finish this project eventually. I used a scrap piece of my board as a guide, so I was sure to cut off just the right amount of the stair nose. I feel like that's a good solution.
Yeah.
Once I had confirmed that these boards would work and that I liked the way they look, I went ahead and cut the rest of my boards. Since these are so small and lightweight, I glued most of these in place with a heavy-duty super glue and then added a brad nail to a few of them that seemed like they needed a little bit more support. If you have any experience with home renovation and DIY projects, you know that there are about 1,000 little things left to do even as you approach the finish line that will really take it to that next level. In the case of this project, there is quite a bit of caulking, touch-up paint, and wall patching to be done to really get these stairs looking their best. After finishing up some of the touch-up details, my friend and fellow designer Jestine came by to help me brainstorm some ideas for this large blank wall.
And as we've mentioned before, Jestine and her husband Tyler actually just launched their own YouTube channel where they're documenting the process of an absolutely massive home renovation that they're working on. So if you're in the mood for watching more projects, then go check out their channel.
All right, I'm back to work. We had a little design break and I'm so excited because I feel like we've solved the problem. That's always such a good feeling when you're like, man, what do I do here? And my plan was to get sconces, but I kind of knew in the back of my mind that sconces would stick out too far and the kids would be hitting those every time they came down the stairs. So we figured it out because I didn't want to do artwork. I love it in some places, but it was not what I wanted for these stairs in particular. Anyway, before I can hang those candle sconces up, I need to sand some of the holes that I patched and do some touch-up paint. And we're so close to done. I feel like we're so close to done.
Kinda, sorta.
Kinda, sorta. I have a few new light fixtures, a lot of touch-up paint to do that you can't really even see on camera, so I'm gonna sand some holes. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And this deep into a project, you're just ready to get it over with. What the heck are you doing?
I just want to get done.
At this point in the project, it felt like we were moving beyond DIY and into like some sort of weird fitness workout.
Yeah, it's my arm's burning. Ow! After I finished sanding the wall patches, I grabbed my shop vac and cleaned up my mess. All right, this is probably impossible to see on camera because it's almost impossible to see in person, but I primed all of my little chipped spots and I also added caulk all along here and along all of my risers because whenever I have something painted white, I don't like being able to see like the gap because the shadow of it makes it stand out like crazy and so you can't really see it, so.
Okay.
How's that for exciting content?
You said, how's this for exciting content? Well, I'm about to make it exciting. Painting, touch-ups, all that. Woo! It's gonna be awesome. Here we go.
Would you go give me some paper towels?
I was wondering about that, you know?
Thanks.
Let's get back to that exciting filming, okay? Alright, well that's all the exciting filming I think I can do. Maybe we just go to a time lapse now. Cut.
After I finished all of the touch-up paint on the main wall, I realized I still needed to caulk around all of the little boards I added at the other end of the stairs before I could do touch-up paint on that side. After I finished all of the touch-up paint, I pulled the tape off and I was ready to move on to the next item on my list. All right, Dean is going to pick up our kids from a day camp that they're going to this week, and I went and ran a quick errand because I've decided I want to change up this wall behind me. I still like this little hanger rack. We just don't really need it there, and so I'm gonna do a simple mirror there, but I have a couple that I can't decide between. So I went and grabbed one that I got locally, and I've got one coming in the mail. I'm gonna go ahead and test out the one I got just to see. I eyeballed it literally perfectly in the middle. After testing out my new mirror, I was ready to commit to this change, and so I pulled out the old drywall anchors so I could patch those holes. I like it. I'm gonna leave it up for a little bit just to kind of get a feel for it. While I let the drywall compound dry by the new mirror, I decided to move on to the last bit of touch-up paint. All right, Dean is still gone with the kids, and I'm gonna do a quick coat of paint on the walls and the stairwell there. I already did touch up on the bottom wood portion because that's a different sheen. I use satin on all of our trim, and then I do eggshell on the walls. But the walls there, even after cleaning, the paint's just starting to get a little worn. I think after 5.5 years of kids going up and down the stairs and rubbing the walls, and so it's time for a fresh coat of paint. I wish you could tell on camera just what a big difference this fresh coat of paint made, but let's just say it really needed it, and it is looking extra sharp now. Go ahead and do touch-up paint on the wall where the mirror is as well, because it's had a lot of just rubbing over the years from the little hook rack that was there for so long. So I also need to do some touch-up paint on this bottom portion, and like I said, that's a different paint, but I do still need to caulk all of my baseboards, and so this is probably how I'm gonna get that done, is a little section at a time. And so today I'm gonna do this little front entry area so that this wall looks nice and fresh. After the caulk dried, I applied a fresh coat of paint to the bottom portion of the wall. And with that, I was finally done with all of the painting. All right, next I'm going to work on switching out this light fixture. I will say there is nothing wrong with this light fixture. I just found one that I feel like fits the style of our house better, and I'll pass this along to someone else that'll have another great home, and so yeah, everybody will be happy. I used my voltage tester to see if the wires were still hot with the switch turned off, and thankfully they weren't, which meant I didn't have to go and try and find the right breaker to turn off. Connecting the wires on ceiling fixtures like this is pretty simple, but man, it is always such a shoulder workout. Wow, that is so hard. The arms are burning. This thing looks light, but it is so heavy.
And just a side note, if you ever find a wife who can do electrical work, you know she's a real keeper.
You're the cutest electrician I've ever met, and I'm so glad I hired you.
I'm gonna test it out. Ready? Please work. Oh, okay. I was like, I'm gonna feel. It looks very different from our other one. I mean, I know they're both the same size and round. I like it. I feel like that really fits our house a lot better. It's a little more traditional and a little less modern. All right. The next light fixture on the agenda. I have literally had another sconce for right here for years now, and I just never installed it. This is an old one that used to be like a neon green when we bought the house, and like a shiny fake brass, so we just spray painted it, and then I never did anything with it. Once again, I used my voltage tester to test the wires, and then I dropped the light fixture.
What was that?
I just dropped that on the ground. I can't believe it didn't break. Those are glass shades.
It didn't break. That's amazing.
Things were moving along nicely until I realized I made a pretty big mistake. Oh, is that supposed to go the other? I think it's supposed to go the other way. Oh. No, tell me that doesn't. That's sad. Yep. It's very upside down. In my brain, the old one, you know, did like that. And so that's how this one was gonna go. I think this is actually how I wanted to do this though. I don't think that's possible though.
So maybe it's a good thing.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh, I don't know if I can even reach it. After thinking on my problem for a bit, I decided it was not a problem and I actually wanted to install my light fixture upside down, but it was gonna require a bit of improvising to install the lampshades.
Where are you going now?
I'm gonna look for something different. But my improvising wasn't working as well as I had hoped, so I had to change things up.
What are you doing? Are you gonna answer me?
This little round piece right here, I want it to go away, and it's made out of metal. I got it. I think it's okay.
Well, I
Watch.
better hope it's okay. 'Cause if it's not okay, you just...
work after this. Unfortunately, after all that work, I decided this light just wasn't going to work. It's loose. I'm gonna buy a new sconce.
What?
This thing was probably like 50 bucks and it's 3 years old. That looks like crap. I'm gonna put it there, but I'm gonna get a new one.
I mean, I think it looks pretty decent. Oh, that helped. Yes.
Maybe I could tape it.
From here, it looks like you put 2 styrofoam cups on the end of clothes hangers.
Stop. I don't mind that.
Am I wrong or am I wrong?
And unfortunately for all of Andrea's efforts, things weren't getting any better.
Dang it. I got stuck. Oh no.
I think this is just a losing battle. You take the L and you move on to greener pastures, okay?
I was like, what L?
You can... All right, just keep cracking at it. You got this. You got it.
It looks so bad. I think it was better before.
Oh, it looks incredible. This is some of your finest work.
When you turn the lights on, it really accentuates how.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like having a nice, like a lamp with, you know, not black shades right there though.
Okay,
Looks
sure.
good. We still have some drywall to patch over there from the water leak that was
Are you getting a little squirrel brain
maybe
right
4
now?
months ago. Well, I'm just looking at the holes. Somebody's probably gonna see it and be like, why do you have a hole? It's still there. We still haven't fixed it.
Okay.
After having a good laugh about all of our wasted effort on the light fixture, we decided it was time to move on to the next thing. When I had Jestine over, we finally landed on the idea of stealing these candle sconces from our recently renovated office, and I feel like they fit the space perfectly and add just the right touch that I was looking for. I put all my tools up. I like it. We're gonna take before somebody knocks that off the wall though. They don't stick out near as far as a normal sconce would, and I love the simplicity versus doing an entire collage wall here.
One last job.
I kind of started pulling some of it off. And then I was like, I know I'm supposed to film this, so I'll leave a little bit.
How kind.
Over the next few days, we had our drywall guys come start working on repairing these patches, and my new sconce came in the mail. All right, my new sconce came. I love it so much. I feel like I had a little bit of a dilemma because I needed a sconce that came down like this because the electrical's up higher. It would cost way more than it's worth to try and have the electrical moved and then patch the drywall. Anyway, I found the perfect sconce. It's from McGee & Co. It was, I want to say, $500 originally, but I Googled the light fixture and I found it on Poshmark as an open box item for like a small fraction of the cost. And I'm so happy. Initially, we thought this project would take us about a week, but that week quickly turned into a month as we waited for materials and then worked on what felt like 1,000 tedious little tasks to really get this staircase looking its best. In the end, it was worth all of the extra effort, and it is now the clean and inviting entry to our home that I've been dreaming up for years.
Well, man, the endless project is finally done and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I don't really know what my expectations were for how this project would turn out. I mean, I thought if I can get it finished that I think it'll look pretty good, but it turned out way better than I even could have hoped, and it looks so good.
But let's talk about this timeline here, because we started out thinking it was gonna be about a week, then it kind of just stretched on and on and on. So how did we get so far off in the timeline, and was it worth it in the end?
Well, I feel like it's complicated because it's also summer, so our schedule's different, our kids are home, but it all started with half of our stair parts order coming in on time and the other half coming in like 3 weeks later after we'd already gone on vacation. Our goal was to get it all done before then, and so after that it just kind of felt like, we're still doing this. And it was like something new that I haven't done before, so there's so much like mental energy and just like figuring out how to make all these silly little cuts.
And I feel like there was a bunch of unexpected little tasks that we couldn't foresee. Like, it just seemed like every step of the process required more than we anticipated.
I'm starting to sweat just talking about all this again. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're done. It's okay, it's done, it's good, it turned out good.
So thanks for coming along for the ride on this DIY staircase makeover. And we're actually gonna take a little break for a bit from DIY projects, but we do have a Q&A coming up where we'll be answering a lot of your questions. So if you've got questions, feel free again to put them in the comments of this video, and we will see you again really soon. Looks like a giant pretzel stick.
It does, it's very large.
Are you going pole vaulting?
That would be fun.
That's a very unique birdhouse, but I love it.
Were you in the video, Jeff? I have glue on the
Hi guys, I'm actually filming.
I know, I can see the
I feel like we're ready for summer break. We're like,
school starts in a couple of weeks.
dude, we have nothing funny to say. We're like worn out. If you've ever done DIY projects on a really regular, reoccurring basis, you know what it's like.